When I first started out at Xstrata, the company had a market value of $500 million. It had a similar amount of debt. And so, there wasn't much going for it other than a conviction. And the conviction was that the terms of trade would improve, that demand would increase, that the supply side wouldn't be able to meet it. And there was space for a nimble company, dynamic with momentum. And that set the framework and the basis of building the Xstrata into the company it is today, and one of the largest diversified mining companies, with a value of 50 billion plus, employing 70,000+ people, operating in 20 countries around the world, and a complete transformation from what it was. And it's been a great story, but it's been a story fundamentally of conviction about where value can be found, a story about momentum, and a story about the people who make up Xstrata. And I think this thing of momentum was the key thing. In a company which has no momentum will go nowhere, and your ability from a standing start to capture value is almost zero. Whereas if you have continued momentum, you can continuously take opportunities. And so this concept, just because you're bigger, means that you actually have to overlay it with head office oversight, head office process, centralized purchasing organizations, centralized HR, rules and regulations, I think is a nonsense. We are faithful to the concept of empowering people to act on a decentralized basis, that we are absolutely faithful to that concept. And because of that, we are a very powerful, innovative organization. The fact that we continue to push decision-making and accountability down to the people who have the greatest knowledge about how to run their businesses means that they know there isn't anybody at the head office who's going to second-guess them. They will feel they can operate in an environment where they make the decisions, and we can limit the bureaucracy and limit the process. Now, inevitably, that means that you have to have a set of core values. I think the next thing is that we say we're going to do things and then do them. There's nothing more frustrating, I think, for investors and for people who are stakeholders, whether they're governments, whether they're people, whether they're employees, whether they're communities, to have companies promise and never deliver. And our thing is, deliver what you say you will. If you don't deliver, you have no credibility. If you don't have credibility, people don't bring you opportunities. And the lifeblood of the company is having access to opportunity. We don't operate in isolation. We operate as a part of society. We have to make a contribution to society which goes beyond simply establishing a business and employing a few people from the community. Behind that, I guess, is the concept of care. We care for the people who work in Xstrata, we care for the environment we operate in, we care for the communities. And that concept of care is absolutely fundamental. It means that there is an ethos within the organization which says that you think beyond simply, how do I actually make the next dollar today? You think of how it impacts society as a whole. Whether it's coal for electricity or stainless steel for knives and forks, all of this stuff is vital to the way society operates. And I like to think that, that we are at the forefront of ensuring that society can prosper. And that's something to be proud of. And if you do it effectively, and if you do it with regard to the environment, and that you connect with your communities and you add value to people along the way, well, that's even a better proposition. The world is going to be a different place this next decade than it has been for the last 20 years. We are going to increasingly be looking to the developing world to demand the products that we produce. And the developing world, I think, remains a very robust and resilient business proposition in an environment where the supply side of our industry remains incapable of meeting that demand. So I think that the story for resource companies is so exciting for the next 10 years, arguably more exciting on a relative basis to the rest of the world's economy than it was for the last 10 years. And I can't think of a better company to be positioned to do this than Xstrata.